Hey folks, this is John Peniel of the John Peniel Show, and this is going to be a continuation of two talks that I've given in the past, how to think outside of the box and basically stay in your power. So this is part three, how to think outside of the box and not let anybody take away your power, because that's kind of related with each other. Because if you're in the box, if you're thinking inside the box, that means you're in a rut. That means you're not free in your mind, and that means you're giving away your power to an outside authority, a human authority. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to give a personal example here how I've given away my power, and you may or may not agree with what I'm going to say here, but that's besides the point. It's a controversial subject, and I'm not here to discuss controversial subjects of a scientific nature. I'm just bringing this up as an example as how we give away our power, and you may not have to agree with the subject matter in which I'm talking about. Let me be specific here. So about 12 years ago, and back when I didn't have anything better else to do, I was going on the internet, and I got into a different kind of a scientific way of looking at things. And one of those things was I got into the flat Earth movement, and I started believing in the flat Earth. And to make a long story short, I found I found the arguments for the flat Earth to be compelling. I don't want to get into that, though. That's not the point of this show. Whether you believe in a flat Earth or not is besides the point, and I'll make that clear as time goes on. So I got into the flat Earth, and I thought the science was very cogent and very what's the word? Common sense. There was a lot of common sense to it, and I believed in that. And after a period of time, I stopped believing it, not because I found any scientific evidence to the contrary, but because I was talking with somebody who was a friend of mine at that time, who thought that the flat Earth idea was crazy, and he said, "Well, that's not true." And I said, "Well, I mean, I think it's true." And he said, "Well, it's not true. The Earth is round." And after a period of time, he swayed me to his side, but he didn't produce any argument. He didn't produce any evidence to show that it was round or anything. I just went along with him just because he said so. So the point of it is it's not to prove that the Earth is round or flat. That's not the point I'm making. The point is that I gave away my power, whether I was right or wrong on the matter. That's besides the point. By just ceding to his will, basically. I just like I said, oh, okay, because he had a personality that's very dominating, and for some reason, and I'll tell you the reason why I gave away my power, because I did not believe in myself. It gets back to self-belief, folks. Always question authority. If there's something, like when do we question authority? When is the appropriate time to question authority? When you start getting some doubts. I've said this before in my other shows on the subject. When you get those doubts, that's your higher self peeking through, saying, "Hello, listen to me." That's your intuition. So you follow up on those doubts. You get intrigued by the doubts that start filling you. You start saying, "Hey, this is interesting. I'm doubting something that's a dogma. And that's exciting." And follow through on that. Be courageous and follow through on what your higher self and what your intuition is telling you. So this is when we question authority. You want to be very curious about everything. Whether it comes to matters of science or just life in general, you always want to be asking yourself, well, how do I know that's true? How do I know that's true? You always want to be asking yourself that. If you don't, you stagnate and you become a walking dead human being. You don't want to be a walking dead human being. You want to be a dynamic, living, spirit-filled human being. You're meant to question that. You're meant to be outside of the dogmatic box. Now, that doesn't mean that everything that authority says is wrong. I'm not saying that at all. There's plenty of things out there that most human beings take for granted as fact, and it is fact. But even then, even if you get doubts on things that really are facts, go with the doubt, because the doubt's there for a reason. And then just kind of just like feel into what is it that your higher self is saying to you. And it may be that your higher self is not trying to get the message to you by saying, well, this is wrong, but rather that it's right, but your higher self wants you to know for sure how you know it's right. Do you get my drift? Don't just accept something, even if it's right, if it's true, and that is absolutely true. Don't accept it just on blind faith. And that's what, and it may be that your higher self and your intuition is testing you to get you to believe in something beyond blind faith. You got to have good reasons to believe as to why something is true. And at other times, your higher self and your intuition will give you doubt to show you that, hey, there's something not quite right about this certain thing that's taken as fact, what other people just assume to be true. And so you do your personal journey, and when you do your personal journey and find out that it's not true, it's rather this is true. It's something else. And I just used the flat Earth and round Earth model just as an example, not to not to cause any sort of scientific controversy here. So when you do your personal journey and you find out the truth on something, which goes against the conventional wisdom of what everybody else is saying, you stick with that. You stick with it. That's your personal conviction. Because if you get swayed by what people are saying, say, well, that's wrong, and you start doubting just because they say it's wrong, and they're saying, well, it's wrong because I say it's wrong, and then you start doubting what you were believing. Then guess what? You're not believing in yourself. You're not believing what your own senses are telling you, your own eyes, and what your own common sense and your own logic, innate logic, is telling you. And when you do that, that's basically an insult. You're insulting yourself, and you're insulting the God who made you. Because God gave you and endowed you with wisdom and your own logic and your own senses, and your eyes that you can see with, ears, so you can judge for yourself if something is true or not. But you want to have a good dose of humility too. You don't want to get caught up in ego and say, well, I'm going to just doubt everything and just be a rebel without a cause. That's a trap that ego can pull you into. And I admit, when I first got into the flat Earth movement 12 years ago, it was largely ego that was getting me into it, because I wanted to be a rebel without a cause. I just wanted I was going through that phase in my life where I just wanted to do that. But I'll leave that flat Earth and round Earth thing. That's not germane to these shows. These shows are for inspiring people, motivating people. That's the flat Earth, round Earth is for us. It's a scientific discussion. I may write some articles on that on my Facebook in the future. I don't know. It's something that I'm still looking into, and my mind is open both ways. And that's all I'll say on the matter. Okay, folks. I wish you a wonderful day. I hope this helps. And I think this may be the last segment on this subject, part 3 on how to think outside the box. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Shalom and namaste.